all-new 2018 Subaru BRZ Limited Performance Package. I'm going to go over all the key specs and features equipped on this vehicle, then we'll go for a quick test drive and see how it does. So let's check it out. Alright, so let's talk about the interior of the all-new BRZ. These seats feel fantastic. So these are really nice, sporty bucket seats. No, they are not Recaro seats. However, my opinion on these seats, they are better than the new Recaro seats that we get in the 2018 WRX and STI models that are optional. As far as the rest of the interior goes, car in this price range, about $26,000 to $27,000, it's actually really nice. You get a lot of leather, soft touch areas and material, sporty red stitching everywhere, the steering wheel's covered in leather. It feels really nice in here. As far as rear seats go, you do not want to have rear passengers. There really is no space for rear passengers. I'm 5'9", 5'10"-ish, and having my seat set to where it needs to be for me to drive comfortably, there is absolutely no legroom back there and barely any headroom. You could probably fit some kids in there, but there really is no space. If you needed to fit some people back there in a pinch and temporarily, you probably could, but it definitely won't be a comfortable ride. Nice fully leather wrapped steering wheel. First generation of the BRZs, there was absolutely nothing on the steering wheel. It was just a wheel, a basic, steering wheel. I mean, this is a sports car after all, and it's really just meant for performance driving and just enjoying the vehicle itself. But it's nice they kind of stepped it up here and added a little bit of convenience features on the steering wheel. On the far left, you have your speedometer. In the center, you have your tachometer. I love when manufacturers put a nice big tachometer right there in the center and put the speedometer there on the left in smaller font, saying basically we don't care what speed we're going, we just want to know what the engine's doing at all times. That's really all that matters when it comes to driving these vehicles. So it's keeping the spirit of the sports car in the BRZ. On the far right here, you have a small LCD display here, which basically gives you a few options here. On the performance pack, you get a whole cluster of gauges. So you get a setting here that shows you your engine temperature, your oil temperature, and your battery voltage. However, in sports cars nowadays, realistically, who cares about looking at their battery voltage? I kind of wish they put something else in there, a bit more useful. And then if you sift through, you get basically your average miles per gallon, your fuel efficiency and economy settings. And then if you scroll here to the right, you get a dyno graph. It's basically showing, when you're driving exactly at what RPM, where you are in the power band in this vehicle as far as power and torque go. As far as the rest of the interior goes, Subaru seems to have kept the head unit here from previous generations. It works, it's functional, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a really simple to use touchscreen here. The touchscreen works perfectly. I like it, I have no issues with it. It functions well. If you're looking for a really powerful sound system, this is not going to be the vehicle for you. Coming from the factory, that is. Of course, there's aftermarket options, but I'm not going to get into that. Coming down below the multimedia screen, you have your digital clock, emergency lights here, and then below that, you have your climate control knobs. The knobs themselves do the trick. They have a nice kind of digital look behind them. You do get dual zone climate control for the driver and the passenger. The knobs themselves honestly don't feel high quality. They feel really cheap. They feel very plasticky. Overall, they feel fine. Coming below the climate control here, I really love what Subaru has done with these buttons here. So you basically have a continuation of the climate controls. You have the off switch here, the dual zone climate control, the recirculating system here, the AC and the rear fogs. But the look of it, it looks like fighter jet knobs. I know that's not what this car is by any means, but it's kind of cool they gave it that look here. It kind of toggle switches here basically. And then to the right here you have your USB and auxiliary gauge. But what I find strange is here in the center in front of the gear lever here is a very small cubby, and honestly I don't know what it would be used for to hold. It's really tiny. Really can't even hold any phones from this day and age. You wouldn't want to put any coins or anything in there. It doesn't hold any wallets. I really honestly don't know what you would put in there. As far as remaining storage space, you do have a bottle holder here in the driver's side as well as the passenger side. Not a crazy large size, but you do have that as well. And then here in the center you have cup holders, 2 cup holders that actually move, so you can essentially move it back here. The cup holders there if you want to utilize this space for something more convenient to you, or you can bring this forward if you are deciding to use the cup holders, and then you have the space in the rear as well. And then you also have a 12-volt gauge here. trunk space in this vehicle surprisingly has a decent amount of space for the vehicle class itself. Now, there isn't much space, but it as you can see here, I was able to fit my camera equipment, my bag, had a little bit more room to spare as well. So you could probably fit one average size luggage and maybe a backpack in there if you go on a small road trip. I wouldn't recommend going on long road trips in this vehicle if you're planning on storing large amounts of luggage and having a passenger in your vehicle as well. The rear seats do fold down, so if you do need to fit some larger items in there, you should be able to fit them in there just fine. That pretty much does it for the interior of this vehicle. Let's talk about some of the exterior features. So the car does come equipped with the performance package. You get Brembo brakes all around. You get 4-pot Brembo brakes up front, and you get 2-pot Brembo brakes in the rear. So the stopping power in the base BRZ in previous generations was just fine to begin with, but now with these Brembos, you know that on the track you won't get as much fade, and you get much stronger stopping power with these brakes. So it's actually really nice, and you get them in this really nice bright red color, so you know this is a sports car, you know it's a sporty package. With the performance package, you also get Sachs front struts and rear shock absorbers to help basically reduce body roll a little bit better and to basically give you a bit more handling power, taking tight turns through the corners, whether it's on the track or on a back road. You do also get these beautiful 17-inch high luster dark gray alloy wheels. I do love the way these look, especially with the red Brembo brakes in the background. It gives it a nice sporty look. As far as the powertrain component in this vehicle, the transmission doesn't get any changes from the previous model. This vehicle does come equipped with the 6-speed manual transmission, which is a nice transmission. Very short throws, very crisp and smooth. And when you put it in reverse, you do get a nice high-resolution backup camera as well. Even though this vehicle does come equipped with the performance package, it does not have Subaru's short throw shifter kit in there. We'll go for a quick test drive in a little bit, and I will give some feedback on how the transmission feels then. As far as the engine goes, you basically have the same engine, same motor as previous BRZ models. The only change is you do get a slight power bump. You go from 201 horsepower to 205 horsepower, and Subaru is claiming the reason for the 4 horsepower bump is due to an upgraded exhaust system. So you get a better exhaust system to basically give better airflow and less restriction, releasing those extra 4 horsepower. I'll let you know if I feel that extra bump in power when we take this car out for a drive, but essentially that's all you get as far as power goes in this vehicle, power changes. Here's a exhaust clip I have to see exactly what the new exhaust sounds like, so let's go ahead and check that out. Now let's go ahead and go for a drive. So as mentioned before, this car does come equipped with a keyless entry system. So all you got to do is put your foot on the brake, put your foot on the clutch, and go ahead and push that engine start stop button. And the car starts right up. So the transmission, I will say, feels great. Very crisp, very smooth, very short. Really like how that feels. Makes me want to just keep shifting. Going down this fairly smooth road. I can hear a lot of road noise in this car. A lot of wind. The tires I really can hear. It's very loud. Going through some slight bumps, and I can feel everything in these seats. Not that that's a bad thing, but that basically just shows you that the suspension is very stiff in this vehicle. And it may seem like through the camera right now I'm going through mountains, but these are fairly small bumps and cracks in the road. There's nothing severe. So the steering feels really tight. That's one thing that I'm noticing. If I turn the steering to the left or the right, the vehicle is responding very quickly. The steering does feel a little bit light to me. It doesn't feel like
the WRX STI as far as the steering goes. The steering feels like there's some more power steering. I'm not too thrilled about that in a vehicle like this, but don't be discouraged. It still feels very great and very tight. Just would like it to be a little bit tighter and heavier in the steering feel. Yeah, it's I heard the exhaust there go off as soon as I started accelerating. Yeah, there's really not much power here in this vehicle. If you're looking for a nice entry-level sports car, there's plenty of punch in this vehicle. It doesn't accelerate as fast as I would like, but it's still fun nonetheless, getting to roll through all those gears and just kind of see the car, the engine go all the way through the rev range. Let's see how she handles. Not bad. Really planted. Wow. Even with those 215 wide tires. Let's see how the braking and the handling do here. Coming to a stop here. Not bad. I just went from 40 to 0 pretty easily, pretty comfortably. This is a really fun car. Is it the fastest car out there? No, not by any means, but it's fairly quick and it's fun to drive, and you can roll through all the gears, and at the same time, you know that if you, while you're rolling through all the gears and driving this car, you're not breaking the speed limits. So for teenagers, no, they're not going to be going incredibly fast in this vehicle. Now, if you're on the track, this car would be a ton of fun, taking really tight corners on a smoother surface with the awesome brakes you have up there with less fading and the upgraded suspension, and just really taking this to drift. This would be a lot of fun. To turn the stability control on and off here, as well as the traction control, and you have this all new track button here that when you push, track use only, of course, got to put the disclaimer, you basically get no assistance whatsoever, and you can basically spin the tires in the rear and just all day long and slide the car as much as you want. Oh wow, this is a lot of fun. I really am enjoying driving this. Beautiful red color too, lets you know that you're in a sports car, and it just looks really nice. This car really has a nice stance. All right, let's give it another go, shall we? Woo! Yeah, I ringed that one out all the way. All the way to redline, about 7,500 RPM. Pulled. This car basically is all driver oriented. It's meant to be driven. It's a spirited driver. You know, you can definitely daily this vehicle. Even here in Massachusetts, I would definitely put on some all seasons or winter tires in the back, and it should be a bit easier to drive through the snow. All right, so my overall impressions of the all new 2018 BRZ Limited with the performance package. It's a really nice, fun car to drive, all under $30,000. It's a really great package for an entry-level sports car, something you want to have on the weekends, drive on a daily basis. A ton of fun. It's got a multimedia system, so if you need to listen to music, it's got dual zone climate control, push button start, keyless entry access system, got some performance gauges up there. You have a 6-speed manual transmission, which is always the plus in these vehicles, and you got rear-wheel drive, and you got a decent amount of power. So overall, I really like this vehicle. Thanks for watching this video review. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel if you're new. There's tons more content coming your way in the future. A huge thank you to North End Subaru and Mazda out in Lunenburg, Massachusetts for letting me review this vehicle for you today. This vehicle is available for sale. Go ahead and check out their website. I'll put a link in the description below. Thanks for watching.
Whatever you do,